Hey Zingers, it's Dan Leach, and I have a wonderful guest for you today. It is the CEO of LogicMark, Shylin Simmons. It's so great to be with you, Shylin.
It's great to be with you as well, Dan. Happy holidays.
Happy holidays to you. One of my favorite times of the year, and also speaking to you is one of my favorite times of the year. And let's talk about LogicMark. Can you give us an overview of LogicMark?
Sure, absolutely. So LogicMark has been around since 2006. We were founded by a technologist founder. Anybody who's ever, I think, actually used one of those cars where you click and the motor sort of runs while you're safe and tugged and warm in your house, have that guy to thank. And so I joined the company in 2021 to actually help do a pivot, a bit of a pivot for the company. So.
And why personal safety devices, Shylin? What kind of unmet need is there here?
Yeah, no, that's a really great question. Look, it's what a great time to actually be in sort of the technology space for personal safety, and especially for technology that services the older generation. 10,000 people are turning 65 and over every day. The boomer generation is actually retiring and aging. And so at this point, we actually have a silver tsunami coming, but at the same time, we actually have a reduction in terms of labor for people who are caring for the elderly. And so this is where technology really sort of shines, where we can actually help those caretakers, both sort of professional, where we're not seeing as many post-COVID, as well as all of us sandwich generation folks, that 1 in 3 millennial and more than half of Gen Xers, who are actually trying to help our parents age at home and also help raise our kids at the same time. And so technology is actually a great place to be in right now to service all of those needs.
No, it certainly is. And let's talk about your revenue model. Tell us about that and why SaaS.
Yeah, so that's a really great question. So, historically, until I came to the company, we actually have been a hardware-only company, and we've been doing great. We were only sort of pretty much B2G, that's business to government, and we have been and continue to be a really great partner to the Veterans Administration, which is the largest hospital network in the United States. And so that's been our traditional business, hardware and servicing, the government business. And so when I came on board, what we really wanted to do was to basically actually increase revenue opportunities, increase the margin of the company, as well as increase revenue. And so the way that we've been doing that is to basically focus on developing new technology. The company had not developed any new technology since 2015, so we were not as competitive as we should be in this particular category space. And so we've done that. We've built a great cloud-based, AI-assisted, ML-assisted cloud-based model with mobile applications and new hardware technology, as well as expanding the marketplace as well with personal safety for everyone. And we do that by basically bringing recurring SaaS-based products to the table. And so along with building great hardware technology, our job is to basically bring great services. And that is, 24/7 monitoring service with a US-based monitoring company. That's basically to do amazing fall detection. That's better than sort of the average sort of like service that's out there for fall detection, and geofencing for those with parents who have, memory care issues or Alzheimer's today. And so as we actually develop new software technology and services, we actually aim to bring those on board as well. And so our product and platform allows us to make those available on a trial basis, right? You could try our services for 15 days or a month and try before you buy, and that's really kind of what folks like myself who are sandwich generation folks like expect. The opportunity to learn a little bit more about the product and services, and then, what would work for their parents. So it's been an exciting way to sort of bring those services to folks who have been so used to using technology that were pretty old school, like literally dating back to the days of the I've fallen and can't get up, which is what most people think about when they think about personal safety for the elderly. And we've really, I think, blown that sort of idea out of the water.
Yeah, like Bob Dylan said, the times they are changing in a good way. And I know you got a great team behind you. What expertise does the team have in building that SaaS business?
Sure. So I actually come from much more of the SaaS sort of recurring billing business, actually having been an executive VP of Strategic Alliances at Audible, and was part of the team that helped sell us to Amazon. And then when I was at Google, I was part of the team that worked on basically Google Play Music and Google Play apps and services. And so had a lot of opportunity to build that sort of recurring and subscription businesses as well. But this team that we brought together, for example, our VP of engineering, he and I worked together on, IoT services products for a company that was Venrock backed, and then we sold to a public company called Harman International, JBL Harman Kardon, and we did actually connect a car service business. And so we actually have expertise and experience in building sort of this enterprise level cloud-based, AI sort of like run, cloud-based system that platform was served into Honda, Subaru, Porsche, and a number of other automakers into millions of vehicles. And so a team that has a lot of expertise and experience in working with amazing folks in a market. So, nobody from who's a German Porsche engineer would basically sneeze at the work we done. They actually made us run through our paces. And so we have actually some really good experiences on building these types of infrastructure for SaaS-based products. And so we brought all of those expertise into this company, and we run this public company like a startup. And so we think of ourselves more as a startup with the ticker symbol. So
I love it. And Shelly, I wanted to talk to you about revenue growth. What measures have you implemented to drive revenue growth?
absolutely, that's a great question. So again, as I mentioned, we've have done traditionally a good job in terms of servicing the Veterans Administration. We still think that there's a tremendous amount of opportunities there for us to grow. There's 1,200 clinics and hospitals for the VA, and it's the largest hospital network in the United States. And so we have actually sold to almost every single one of those, but we feel like we could still increase those footprints more. And so that business continues to grow, and we really have a good feel for those. But we're also trying to look at expanding our B2B business to basically make, these available to resellers in the market. We're very bullish on our direct to consumer business because it actually has a really good connection for people to purchase these items. I mean, the reality is a lot of consumers out there who are purchasing devices, for example, medical alert products. They're the sandwich generation purchasing these items for their family. And so they really want to have a direct relationship with the folks who are providing those services to watch over their parents. And so similarly for personal safety, they think the same thing. You really want to have a relationship with the people who are keeping you safe. And so we believe that direct to consumer business is one area where we can do a much larger volume of revenue and numbers as well.
For sure. And when you look at it right now, what do you think the biggest trend in medical and safety devices is that you're seeing from your perspective?
Yeah, I think it's really the area of, AI innovation and machine learning. Those two things are different. We do both. I'm a bit of a geek that way. So, believe me when I say AI and ML are not the same thing. And we do actually both. In the 3.5 years that we've been here, we've been super busy on doing a lot of great patents. And a lot of those involve sort of AI work, for example, fault detection. We're really focused on optimizing fault detection. Today, it's kind of sad. Most of these things run on just one sensor, an accelerometer. And so you kind of are basing falls on whether or not, the fall was fast. And so that's why there's a lot of false positives when you wear an iWatch on falls. And so we're optimizing. We think that one of the new trends is this idea of being actually much better about removing false positives so that people actually who wear them aren't embarrassed to wear them because these things trigger false sort of situations all the time. Because can you imagine wearing one of these devices and they think that you're fallen and you're just kind of shopping out there, right? So nobody wants that. And this is why, elderly people don't want to see that. Secondarily, I think that as the boomers are aging, they're used to seeing really amazing things out there. We actually create great devices for everybody out in the market, but why don't we create them for people who are aging? And so the product ID designs need to sort of keep up with the times, right? And so if you look at our Freedom Alert Max product, it is a cool, awesome looking little, product. It's a cell phone. This does not look like an aging population product, right? Seems like a really cool, slick smartphone. And what it is a medical alert product in disguise. And so there's no shame in carrying one of these because your grandkids are going to be going around saying like, oh, that's like an aging population product, right? It's, a cell phone. It is a medical alert product that actually allows, your kids to actually be able to peep in case there's an emergency, not if there isn't one. Let's be honest, everybody expects to have privacy. And we actually believe that's a third trend, which is, how do you do medical alert products that just provides an amazing safety net for, people who are aging at home, but it gives them the privacy, right? Nobody wants their like adult kids to be popping in on them all the time. But every adult kid who is a sandwich generation person wants to provide that safety net under their parents. And so when you use our Freedom Alert Max, you cannot just randomly use the video feature to check in on your parents randomly when they're just going about their lives, right? Only when there's an emergency can you use your mobile app to basically say, oh my goodness, an emergency went off. And so you can actually go and take a look. It has a front and a back camera, right? To basically allow you to see whether or not your parents are prone on the floor, right? And we think that these are the type of IoT trends as well that people need to see. They need to see basically sensors and capabilities to basically check in on your parents that also allow you to have privacy at the same time.
Yeah, I'll tell you what it looks like. Something I need to get for my mom and dad very soon. It's just awesome technology. And I was wondering when you look at what you guys are doing related to IP and hot areas like AI, what kind of work is the company doing on that stuff right now?
Yeah, so as I've mentioned, we are super busy making sure that we actually have a very comprehensive and strategic patent. I think that, one of the things that people should think about when, investing in companies and doing work at a company is that ultimately, when people are looking at us, they should be looking at us as a technology company, much like the way that we see ourselves as a technology company. And so the patents that we've generated are interlocking. They allow us to block out competitors, and they are in the areas of AI tokens so that we can actually maintain privacy, even things like, game theory, so that we can understand whether or not these issues involved in sort of the things that we're creating in terms of scenarios. We think through things because, at the end of the day, people, rely on us for safety. And so we do things like physics engines so that, we think about, hey, if the AI is creating all of these scenarios about what's happening with grandma, that none of it is something that's like, hidden dragons, crouching tigers, because there's no way grandma's going to be doing that. And so what it does is it sort of double checks, right, on these things. And so these things are meaningful and they're important because they actually make sense to keep somebody safe. Right. And we're trying to make sure that, we're utilizing technology in a way that is helpful for everybody. And so today, when people spend a lot of time talking about, AI, they're talking about things like, doing searches and generating cool pictures, but sometimes, somebody has six fingers, right, in the pictures. And those are kind of fun and interesting to do. But really what I'm bullish about is some of the work that we're doing around patents related to fall detection, related to AI in terms of figuring out, whether or not somebody's safe or not. And doing, for example, moving us from a business is just about being really excellent. And we're really trying to be excellent about being a reactive technology, right? So if you fall, we know that that's a real fall. We can validate it as a real fall. And that's really important and get you the help that you need, right? Because that concept of getting help within an hour is real for personal safety and health, right? But we want to get to predictive analytics. And that's really the exciting piece of this, right? Which is you're investing in patents in a company that's looking at predictive technology so that we could try to prevent a fall and try to prevent an emergency issue from happening in personal safety and space, right? And so for us, that's what we've been really focused on in 3.5 years. And so for a startup, 3.5 years with 18 patents, and most of which, we've already, have a really good feel for, that we feel very confident that we're going to get. That's a lot of work already for a startup, much less a public company, right?
It sure is.
Yeah.
Incredible stuff you guys are doing. Shailyn Simmons, the CEO of LogicMark. That was an absolutely fascinating conversation. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you so much, Dan, and happy holidays to you.